Okay. Actor is school. Actor is school. You can unmute and lead us in a word of prayer. Oh, acts. Unmute.
This is not allowed. I'm come on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, please, let's pray. You pray for us.
Yes, everyone humble yourselves for the prayer. Yeah, dear loving Father, we thank you so much for the gift of life you provided to us, Father. Father, we pray for an effective communication in this facilitation. We pray that you can be able to provide to us everything that we do not know, and we can be able to learn each and everything that we need in our final touches, Jehovah. Father, we pray for the best in your name as we attend this facilitation. In Jesus' name we pray and amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for the word of prayer. Thank you, Gul Ame SS, Chibale SS, Busembatia, Solid Rock, and all the schools that are joining in from the different parts of the country. You are most welcome, and thank you so much. Allow me now to welcome our facilitator, Teacher Charles, to take us through the presentation. Teacher Charles, you are most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Bwana Stephen, for organizing this call. We have had a prayer. I just want to Teacher Stephen to confirm that the slides are visible.
Yes, they are visible.
To the people on this call, I have seen my friends. My name is Charles. For purposes of for security reasons, allow me use only one name, Charles. I'm a teacher, not beyond that. Bwana Stephen, thank you for organizing this call. We are talking to the whole country. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not the best teacher, but I can share what I know. To the candidates, we want to thank you and ask you to remain committed and remain focused such that you achieve your best at the end of the day. I want to share with you what I know and what your teachers have been sharing with you from Form 1. We only have 2 hours of interaction right now. By 6, we shall be moving to different areas. We are here to have a discussion on geography. To the candidates, there are some things that you have, that your teachers have told you, which we are going to repeat. For that reason, do not expect to hear anything new, but possibly just to emphasize and to learn more if it is there anyway. Paper composition for geography. Geography, according to the timetable that was released by UNEP, it shows that geography is the first exam that we are going to write. And we need to understand the composition of the paper. Of course, the teachers have told you. We have, the paper is a good paper. It's supposed to be answered in 2 and 45 minutes. But still, I want to let you know that the time indicated on the paper by UNEP stands valid unless otherwise. But so far, according to the timetable, 2 and 45 minutes. What do you expect to have or to get in this paper? You expect to get a paper where you should be prepared by now thoroughly. A paper that is having 2 sections, A and B. Section A is a compulsory section. It comes from the test item, the exam item. UNEB, a standard paper, according to the way they categorize, that item is coming from map skills, what we normally call map reading and interpretation. I'm very sure that your teachers talked about elements of construct and you know them and you know the topics that fall under map skills. Even the last session that I had on such a call, we talked about this. The second item is the photograph skills. And photograph skills, what we use it to call photographic interpretation. It is also compulsory. This one has got also some topics that fall under this element of construct too. Briefly, this one deals with the sustainable utilization of natural resources, covering topics such as wildlife conservation and tourism, things like mining and manufacturing industries, exploitation of natural resources, that is fishing, looking at things, aspects of part of agriculture. It is included in this. We have section B. Just first of all, to talk about section A, map skills and photographic skills, they are compulsory items. You have no option, you have no debate, and therefore prepare yourselves thoroughly. I'm going to, in these 2 hours, I'm going to dwell on those 2 items because they are compulsory. At least we are very sure that they are there. This other section, section B, has got 2 parts. Part 1, it deals with physical geography. In here, we have what we call the element of construct 3. We all very much know about it. It deals with the relief regions, rivers. It deals with the lakes. It deals with all geomorphic processes that take place and that shape the earth. 2 items are set from in this part 2. 2 items are set, and a candidate is supposed to answer 1. The 2 items set are of the same level of difficulty and they are of the same level of simplicity. So you need to prepare yourself. Cover all the topics, there is no choice. In here, there are so many chapters that you need to read and master. UNEB chooses from anywhere because these chapters were classified according to the learning outcomes, covering from senior 1 up to senior 4. Section B, part 2. This also deals with what we call socioeconomic geography, with the statistics. Chapters under this deal with the trade, population and urbanization, then transport and communication. 2 items are set in this element of construct 4, and you choose 1, you answer 1. But the 2 items are incorporated, they have an element of statistics. So you need to also prepare yourself on that part. I am, from the experience as we interact with the learners, they so much want to answer this part 2 of section B of statistics, but it has its own dynamics. Prepare yourself properly. Let me help and share what I know, the little I know about the subject. We need to understand what it means with every question, every task that is put before us. We have what we call the command words. What the item is, the task is instructing the learner to do. I can say that you are going to meet both in section A and section B questions that have words, for example, describe, explain, outline. These words here, they are high order. They are for high order questions. And if they are high order questions, then they go through 3 levels of assessment. You must be knowing something, you must be understanding it, and you must be able to apply for questions of describe, explain, outline. They cut across both sections. When you get a question of mention, state, identify, and I skipped one word, if they say name, these questions call for direct responses. Depending on where they are. If they are in section B, you just name. It only calls for CK. But if it is in, you get such questions in section A, then it has CK and AP. Application must be there. And application depends. Are you dealing with the map? If you are dealing with the map, then you must refer. Get the evidence from the map and locate that evidence. That is the AP. If it is you are mentioning, stating, or identifying, and you are dealing with element of construct 2, which is section B, section A, item 2, photograph skills, then you also need to mention and locate that feature, whatever they are asking for. It is very imperative, very, very imperative to locate for this area, to be applying. You must apply. Applying on photographic interpretation is identifying the feature and locating it. We are going to dive into that and understand better. And also when you are looking at mentioning, outline, mentioning, stating, naming, identifying on the map, you should look at the feature and locate it. Direct the person to where that feature is. Once you see the word illustrate, which you are going to get, you will get the word illustrate. They can also use the word portray. That such words mean draw. The drawing can be of a sketch map. It can be of a landscape sketch. It can be illustrating, drawing a diagram. For example, drawing a block mountain, an illustration of a block mountain or a volcanic mountain. It can also mean to illustrate on a graph, to draw a graph. So the examiner, the setter can use these words calling for, and I have at least given you a clue on what is expected. Map skills. Let us dive into map skills. What are we supposed to do with the map skills? These are the key areas that we are supposed to know or to learn to prepare as we prepare for our exam. Remember, failure to prepare is a preparation to fail. For whoever is on this call, definitely you are preparing to pass. And it is our prayer and happiness that you get prepared and pass. What are we supposed to learn on this aspect of map skills? Remember that map skills has got around 4 chapters that come along. That is element of construct 1. It deals with the natural vegetation, it deals with climate, it deals with the earth rotation. These are chapters that you covered in book 1, senior 1, but they are part of map skills. So you are supposed by this time to know what we call grid reference, 4-figure, and the 6-figure. The 4-figure, they give us a grid square, while the 6-figure, they give us the point of the feature. You should be ready and very much prepared to deal with how to measure distance and determine the cost involved in transport. I want to let you know, if you were with last year's map, which UNEB used, the map of Nakasongola, you will realize that that map has got 4 linear scales. 4 linear scales. It is here. If you look at this, there is the first scale on this map is in miles. After, there is another one down on that one of the miles. There is another one of feet. It also has that one of kilometers. So you need to read the scenario and pack the scenario, understand the scenario, and get to know if they are talking about distance in kilometers. We shall get there. We get back, we need to know area and cost determination. How to calculate area of regular shapes and irregular shapes. If it is a regular shape, for example, they give you a feature which is in form of a rectangle. Definitely a mathematical formula is used where you have to measure the length and the width of that feature in kilometers to determine the area. And if the scenario is talking of buying that piece of land, you will do multiplication. You also need to be ready and prepared to answer questions of direction and bearing. Here I'm saying that you must illustrate. Kindly illustrate. If you are dealing with the direction and you say the feature is on western direction, illustrate, draw an illustration showing western direction. If it is the bearing and the question is saying determine the angle at which, please, after getting it on the map, illustrate or no in your answer booklet. Anything can happen. Determining trend. Trend briefly means change, and it is stated in bearing. From 0.45 to, our teachers have shared with us on how to determine the trend. I do not know or understand where Amlatar SS has a question and whether ACT High School also has a question. I can see the hands up. I have not shared anything that needs clarification. So I thank you. How to determine, how to locate economic activities on a map. When you are tasked the question, the item is saying, they have given you the scenario and they are telling you to identify the economic activities, then the formula for, or the way you should present your activities. You identify the economic activity on the map, you give the evidence on the map, and locate the evidence. Therefore, we summarize it as economic activity EA plus evidence plus application. Application is location on the map. Land uses. Equally, when you are identifying land uses, you must give evidence from the map. I wonder if there is any group that can't differentiate between economic activities and land uses. Economic activities and land uses are generally referred to as human activities. I want to give a scenario here in form of a statement. All women are wives. All women are wives. The second statement, all wives are women. All wives are women. Are the two statements correct and are they the same? Are the two statements correct and all the same? No, one is very wrong. But when you listen, they sound like they are both correct. All wives are women, but not all women are wives. Because we have sisters, the nuns. They are not women, but they are not wives, but they are women. So not all economic activities are land uses. And not all land uses are economic activities. For example, settlement is a land use, but it is not an economic activity. Lumbering It's an economic activity, but not a land use. So you need to identify and understand those technical things. Fishing is an economic activity, but it is not a land use. But we can have fish farming. If, for example, there are fish ponds on the map, or there are fish ponds in the photograph. So let us understand, but both economic activities and the land use activities are human activities. You are also supposed in map skills to understand, you must be understanding how to identify problems faced by the people in the area given on the photograph. And the formula, I'm making a summary because of time. The summary for giving the problems. In case a task is calling for responses on the problem facing people, it is supposed to be, you are supposed to identify the problem, give the evidence of that problem, and application. But remember, you go back to my first slide. No, the second slide on the commands of the words. Have they told you to explain? Have they told you to outline? Have they told you to describe? If they have done that, a problem is not a problem, not until it becomes a problem. A problem is not a problem, not until it becomes a problem. A monkey is not a problem. It only becomes a problem when it gets to your maize garden and it destroys. And therefore, if they tell you to explain, to describe, to outline, even if they told you to identify, you are supposed to give the problem, show how it is a problem. For example, you are going to say, they give you a map and it is hilly. When you look at this map of Nakasongola, around this point here, there is Nakasongola Hill. Around this point here, there is Sungira, I think Sungira Hill. Because of the hills, you are going to say the problem, you can identify the problem as periodic landslides that lead to soil exhaustion. Soil exhaustion becomes the CU. You understand how soil erosion is a problem. And thereafter, you give the evidence from the map because of the presence of the hills and take us to the hills. Give an example of the hill on the map. When you look at this point here, there is a forest. This forest can be an evidence of dangerous wild animals. And therefore, you are going to say attacks from dangerous wild animals. And you have already said attacks from dangerous. That means that that is the effect. And you give the grid square. I will come to that on how to locate. We can locate places using grid reference, using name places, and using direction. Okay. You also need to be prepared on how to draw sketch maps. We have what we call general sketch maps and partial sketch maps. And also using a tracing paper. Ladies and gentlemen, who are on this call, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Prepare yourself to answer any question. UNEP can give you anything. So, what are general maps, sketch maps? If they tell you illustrate, illustrate the area shown on the map. And this is, you are going to draw the area of this map, the whole map. But if they tell you draw the area of shown on the map west of Easting 40, west of Easting 40. This is now the area. This is Easting 40 here, and therefore they want only this area here. You can realize that the shape of the map has changed. The frame of the map has changed. It's now a vertical rectangle. Put that into consideration. That is what we call a partial sketch map. UNEB can give you anything. You need to be also able to describe relief of the area. Instead of saying relief, which is very common, they will say describe the physical landscape of the area, meaning relief is the general physical appearance of the landscape. And so they are telling you describe the relief. Remember that relief on the map is represented by the help of the contours. We interpret the contours and other features on how they appear. And I'm very sure that this is a senior 2 question or 8 item when we are drawing a cross section, which we call a sketch section. Senior 2. You need to also be able to prepare yourselves on how to describe vegetation, natural vegetation, and how man can use the natural vegetation to sustain life. Senior 1, the last chapter, which should be chapter 9, it deals with natural vegetation and climate. And therefore, you need to be prepared. By definition, natural vegetation refers to the plant cover of an area that grows by physical conditions. And so, it is not the same. It may be in form of plants, may be in form of trees, woodland, scrub, thicket, bushes. So you must identify the vegetation type in the area and you locate. I can give an example of one of the mock bodies. When you look at a paper, one of the mocks, was it Hoima? It was asking for location of the vegetation types on the map. You identify the vegetation type and you locate it, show the examiner where you have seen that vegetation type. I can tell you, map skills is the easiest because all the answers are on the key of the map. This key here on the map is a general key. It has all features on the Earth's surface. All that is on the map is on the key. Not all that is on the key is on the map. Be in the know that different features exist in different areas. So, if they give you Nakasongola, like for example, when you look at this map, this is a lake on this key. But when you look at the map of Nakasongola, there is no lake. This is a quarry on this key. When you look at the map of Nakasongola, there is no quarry. So everything that you need on the map is on the key, but not all that is on the key is on the map because it is a general key. Keep referring and interpreting features using the key. Very fast in the interest of time. You also need to identify to be able to describe drainage on the map. Lakes, rivers, seasonal swamps, papyrus swamps, and even description of vegetation. You are not going to, climate. You are not going to see climate on the map, but the map can be having indicators of the climatic type. Even the scenario can give you the indicators of climate. Like if you read UNEB's paper last year, it had indicators of climate in that scenario. Okay. This is an item that I developed for this session. There is something all our items, paper is going to be full of scenarios. We've done this in our activities of integration. We've done this in our exams that we have sat from senior 1. So when they give you this scenario here, dear candidates, much of the time should be on reading, understanding, interpreting the scenario. Read, understand, interpret the scenario. for the scenarios that I have come across, scenarios have got answers embedded there. There are answers always in there. But because students do not want to read, they go to answer the tasks without reading the scenario, which is very unfortunate. So when you read this scenario here, you will realize that there are a lot of, the answers are in here in this scenario. For this item, use East Africa 1 to 50,000, Uganda Nakasongola map extract sheet, series edition. All this information is on the map to respond to the task. Nakasongola is one of the least developed districts in Uganda. The area has distant social services, dominated subsistence farming, and you read and understand the whole scenario. These resources have not been fully utilized to cause development in the area, and this has drawn concern from the local leaders, government, community development organizations, and development partners on how livelihood of the people can be improved. Now, a capacity development workshop has been organized. But read this scenario. A one-day capacity building workshop for the community and the various stakeholders has been organized at Wabinyonyi School at grid reference 415451 to discuss ways of improving people's life, and you are invited to attend. Look at the task now. How much shall a cotton farmer from Wabigalo, grid reference 400389, require to pay for transport to attend the workshop and return home if he used border cyclist, charging shillings 2,500 per kilometer? And when you look at this scenario here, this scenario is asking for distance. You need to have this task run. It is asking for distance incorporated with calculating the cost. But where are the 2 points? How are you going to do that? The scenario is saying in this last paragraph, the workshop is at Wabinyonyi School, which is on the map. You need to look at the map. And there is a farmer who is coming from Wabigalo at this grid reference, which is also on the map. Now, these are the guidelines. Dear candidates, read the scenario. Read and interpret the scenario. After measuring distance and getting like 4 kilometers, I am just using an example, you are going to multiply 4 kilometers by 2,500. Which is the unit cost for every kilometer. But they are asking this, the task is saying to attend the workshop and return home. Meaning is going to Wabinyonyi School to attend the workshop and will have to go back to Wabigalu. So after multiplying, definitely you will have, after multiplying the kilometers and the unit cost per kilometer, then you are going to multiply by 2 to get the answer. Follow the procedure. You get the distance, you indicate it on the map, on the paper. Multiply. Yes, please. There is a hand. You can unmute yourself and ask. I gave you the rights. Nkoma Seed, you can unmute yourself. Bwana Stephen, I think if you could help to control the audience, to give them the rights, or take, you are writing on the slides, it is very unfortunate. Okay, let me continue.
Okay, maybe Mr. Charles.
Yes, please.
Mr. Charles?
Yes, sir.
You want us to take on some questions now?
Yes, I think they want to seek clarification.
Okay. Let's pick on just some 3 questions.
Yes.
Colil compressive bucadia. Unmute. Bucadia. Okay.
Another one.
Aduk secondary.
Yes.
Yes. Ask.
Yes, good evening.
Hello. Go ahead and ask.
Hello.
Brother Stephen, we can get another person.
Okay. Buanga Secondary School.
We can continue.
Okay.
Brother Stephen, let us continue.
Yes.
We
Okay.
can continue. Okay, now you dear candidates, if they tell you to determine distance, you don't calculate the cost, but the task will be showing you on what to do. If, for example, you measured from here on this map at this point up to this road junction, you measure the distance of a low surface road, and you get 5.6 kilometers. You are going to multiply to state that one. Remember that distance is measured and stated in kilometers. Unless the scenario says miles. If they tell you miles, as I told you, the maps that are given when you look at this one here has got 3 scales. So it will depend on what the scenario is talking about. The units of the distance. So the answer you give must have the units. Please mute such that we don't get feedback from the audience, from your side. Thank you. Let us look at this other item here, using an illustration. I'm doing this. I'm not going to cover each and everything because of time. I'm just giving you the key highlights. Using an illustration, help the stakeholders at the workshop to understand the major relief and man-made features along Northing 45 between Eastings 44 and 43. When you look at this, they are saying illustrate. In my introduction, among the command words, I say that once you see the word illustrate, it means draw. But they are giving us 2 points, 45, Northing 45 and Easting 34, Northing 45 and Easting 43. This means by condition, by standard, by default, the way we read the grade reference, we start with Eastings, then Northings. Eastings, then Northings. It means the first point here is 3, 4, 45, 4, 3, 45. And when you go at that point, you realize that the question is asking you to illustrate, which illustration means drawing. And we are drawing a cross section, not a sketch map. And they are telling you, you make them understand, meaning if you were to make someone understand the features, you label them, you name them. If it is a hill, it should be a hill. If it is a steep slope, it should be a steep slope. If it is a lowland, indicate such that the person should look at it and understand. If there are settlements which are man-made, definitely show that these are settlements. If there is a road, call it a dry weather road. Let the person understand. So this understanding means that mark and label. We move on. If they told you that you explain to the stakeholders how the natural vegetation of the area can be used to improve the livelihood of the people and reduce poverty, Now, the command of the question here, it is telling us we should explain and explain. From the introduction, I say that it should run through 3 levels. It is a high order. You are supposed to tell us the forest. Got the map? You have this map here. You tell us the forest. People in the area can use this forest to carry out lumbering. But where is it? This forest. Give us the location. When you look at your map, this place is called Katambwa. And this forest has no name. So you can locate the forest in the east of Katambwa. Or you can give in form of grid square. 41, 41, meaning easting, this easting line, and the easting and the northern line below, which is around 43. You are locating. So I was saying that if you are to explain how natural vegetation, remember natural vegetation is part of element 1. Now they are looking at the vegetation in this photograph. They are asking you, how can man use it to improve his life? This means if there is anyone using this photograph, this map here, look at this map and identify the natural vegetation, which is a forest. He can use lumbering to provide employment to the people. Look at the scrub. You look at the key. When you look at the key, you will see there is scrub. Scrub can be used for livestock rearing. And you tell us where the scrub is. Look at this area here. We have thickets. How can man use thickets? Do I need to give only one use or one value of the forest, of the vegetation type? No. If there is woodland, for example, at this point, how can man use woodland? You are going to tell us man can use woodland by practicing beekeeping to provide honey to improve people's diet. By showing that providing honey to improve people's diet, you are explaining. And by taking us to the location where the woodland is, you are applying, you are doing what we call map skills, map reading. Then, we move on to, you can look at, if they told you, for example, to draw a sketch map. I want you to know now, I can see my friends from KCB Bukedi College, Kachonga, you are taking note. Under sketch drawing, I said that giving grid reference, we know 4-figure and 6-figure distance, kilometer, the units must be there. If they have asked for the cost, you are going to give the answer, the cost, by giving the unit cost or the unit of the amount, the money. Area. If they told you, for example, there is this swamp here is known as Kasiri seasonal swamp. You have come across tasks that are telling you your father wants to buy land to invest, and he wants to acquire that land. He wants to acquire Kasiri seasonal swamp to carry out rice growing. Every kilometer of Kasiri, squared kilometer of Kasiri, is sold at 2 million. Determine the cost he's going to incur if he is to buy what? Kasiri seasonal swamp. That means you need to know, first of all, how to calculate area of what we call irregular shapes. What are irregular shapes? Area of seasonal swamps, papyrus swamps, mountains, counties, sub-counties, lakes. If you are given definitely Identification and the stating of the formula. Complete square plus incomplete square, dividing complete square by 2. That one is CK, you know. And substitution of the figures, you count the completely covered squares by the swamp. Even if there are no completely covered squares, there is 0. 0 is a digit mathematical, right? 0 plus count the completely covered squares. If you get 12, you put up out of 2. 12 divided by 2, you get 6. 6 plus 0 complete squares, you get 6 squares. What now we want to convert the 6 squares into squared kilometers. We know that area is calculated and stated in squared kilometers. And therefore, we multiply by the area of 1 square. We know very well from here up from one grid line to the next grid line is 1 kilometer. From one grid line to the next grid line is 1 kilometer, east and north of the map. And therefore, they form what we call grid squares. Mathematically, we know that the formula for calculating the area of a square is S squared. And therefore, if this side is 1 kilometer and this side is 1 kilometer, and therefore the area of this one square is 1 kilometer squared. So if we counted the complete squares and we got 6 squares, we multiply 6 squares by the area of 1 square, which is 1 kilometer squared, and we get 6 kilometers squared. So if your father is to buy this land, it means that he's going to, you get the 6 squares and multiply by the unit cost of 1 kilometer, which is, for example, if the scenario was saying 2 million, you multiply by 2 million. So that means that 6 times the 2 million, your father is going to incur 12 million shillings to get Kasir season of swamp. So we want all that procedure to appear. How you got the answer. Not just getting the answer, you put it there. No, not even calculating just your answer and you put on the paper. No, we want to follow. We want to see. We are interested in seeing your work, such that we see where we put CK, CU, and AP. I want to assume I am helping you here and there. If you are told to draw a sketch map, there are some things that are obvious. Element of construct 1, chapter 3 of book 1, it deals with the map skills, drawing a sketch map. Primary also taught us that it taught us the qualities of a good map. A good map should have a key, it should have a frame, it should have a compass rose, it should have a title. Now, because for us we are drawing a sketch map, you cannot have a key there. It's not, no. You should not have a scale because we can't be accurate. Now, if you are drawing a sketch map, have a title, have the frame. A frame should occupy at least half of the page. Have the compass rose and have the key on the same page. Not writing the title on one page, then you draw the sketch map on the next page, then after you put the key on the next page. You separate, they should be on the same page. For both general and partial. So general, you are drawing a sketch map like this, you have the title. The title should have the name of the map that you are going to use. We know our geography is dealing with East Africa, Africa, and China. And therefore, any map can come. A map from Uganda, a map from Kenya, a map from Tanzania. But if you have the skill, I am very sure I'm talking to people from all over. I've seen people from Gulu. There are some who don't know Nakasongola, but you answer, you have the skill. So regardless of where the map is coming from, you can still, once you have the idea, you can still answer. Follow the procedure, which we are sharing. Apply and direct the person, the examiner, where the feature you are talking about is on the map. And we said that identification and location is you can give the name place, you can give direction. Forest in the east of Katambwa. Techno KL, you are writing on the screen. I don't want to be rude on this call, but if you don't behave, I will put you down. Leave people who are interested to attend. They have a reason, they have a goal why they are on this call. When you check the participant, we have 255 schools. Please let us behave. Let us behave. I don't see the reason as to why you should write on the screen if you are not presenting, if you are not asking. Thank you, Bwana Stephen. Okay. So when you are drawing a sketch map, use similar symbols as on the key. Use similar symbols as on the key. This key is given to interpret symbols. Mark the feature using a symbol which is on this key here and write on it using the local name. If you have, for example, in the southwest here, we have a papyrus swamp. Look at the symbol of the papyrus swamp and use it to mark exactly in the relative position here in the southwest here. Mark that there is a papyrus swamp and write exactly where you have marked that this is a papyrus swamp. If this papyrus swamp has got a local name, write here that write that local name of the papyrus swamp. If you are drawing this loose surface road, use a similar symbol. I have not asked you to go and buy colored pencils. No, that pencil is enough. It does not change. You can use the pencil to draw this road here, and that you write on it a loose surface road. You draw this one, you write bound surface road. Where am I getting the names? I am getting those names of these roads from this key here. They are here, answers are here. Okay. What we have talked about drawing across a sketch map, identification of the problem. I talked about it here, bearing and direction. If you are dealing with bearing and direction, does the question ask for bearing and direction? Here we have two aspects. Mathematics teaches us that when you are calculating bearing, you also go ahead and state direction. If you are calculating direction, you go ahead and state the bearing. This is geography. Have they asked you to state the direction? Yes, by the help of the compass rose, which has got 16 points, 4 cardinal points, sub-cardinal points, and you are just going to say A, state the direction of A from B. You are at B, you are going to A. So it is eastern direction. You don't put the bearing. If they say state the bearing of A from B, and A is at an angle of 90, it is 90 degrees. Remember that bearing is stated in 3 digits. There is nothing like adding again direction. But if the scenario is telling you, if the question is telling you, the task is telling you, determine the direction and bearing, then you are going to say A is in the eastern direction, 90 degrees. Or western direction, 270 degrees. because the task is telling you to state direction and bearing. But if it is just bearing, just give bearing only. You don't need to give the direction. If it is direction, give direction only. You don't need to give bearing. If they are both, give both at the same time, not the way mathematics does. Let us jump into, because of time, I need to look at and guide you on this aspect of trend is given in is change, is given in degrees. Of course, you know, we have ever talked about trend. You know how to determine, you identify the feature for which the trend is to be given or to be stated. You join the 2 points. For example, if they tell you, describe the trend of this loose surface road from here up to here, it means that you are going to draw a pencil line from this point to this point. Join you have joined the 2 points. Draw a compass rose along the line and measure clockwise the first angle and the second angle. It is stated in degrees. What are the what if it is almost 5, meaning we have used 1 hour and we need to switch very fast. What are the land uses? What are land uses? How man has used the land in the area. And you remember the scenario that the 2 questions that I gave you. All women are wives. All wives are women. It looks to be correct. One question, one statement sounds to be correct, but we tried to interpret that for one to attain the title of a wife, first of all, must be a woman, naturally. Biologically, one has to be a woman. When on top of being a woman, she gets the status of a wife. So it's not true that every woman is a wife. No. So I say that not all economic activities are land uses, not all land uses are economic activities. And so what do we look for when it comes to land uses? We want, you look at the map, a map like this one here, and you are going to say there is forestry. On this map, there is forestry, but there is no lumbering. There is forestry because of this forest here in the west of Katambwa, this forest here. Is there any other land use? Yes. When you come at this point here, there are settlements. There are settlements. The black dots are there. When you come to this map, we can see this is a road. This is also a road. What is it? The land use here. Road transport. The land use a road transport because of this road or the road, even if you just rode the road. Because of the bound surface road from this point up to this point, from this point up to this point. Loose surface road from here up to there. There is land is being used there. Now, are there some land uses that are not on this map of Nakasongola, for example? Yes. If this map had a fish ponds anywhere, we would say fish farming. If this map had a plantation anywhere, a plantation, we would say crop growing. If it had the veterinary department anywhere on this map, we would say livestock rearing. By the way, I can also be right if I said wildlife conservation, because when you look at wildlife conservation, it deals the protection of wild plants and wild animals, fauna and flora, with the land where they are gazetted or protected. And therefore, if there is this forest here, wildlife conservation, because of this forest, I will accept it as a land use. What about the economic activities? So we draw a difference between economic activities and land uses. We have a term known as agriculture. By definition, back then when we were still going to school, we defined agriculture as the art and science of growing crops and rearing of livestock for both for either subsistence or commercial use. Now, we can have a farmer, a person practicing agriculture in form of livestock rearing, but it's not doing crop growing. And there is also one who can be practicing crop growing, but is not doing livestock rearing. So general answers are not acceptable. Agriculture is not acceptable. We would love you to say livestock rearing if you have seen, for example, a grazing area indicated on the map, veterinary department, cattle dips, cattle markets. If you see a plantation, crop growing or arable farming, if you see cotton stores, if you see the ginnery, meaning if there is a ginnery, it is for cotton. So cotton growing evidence is what? The ginnery. And you take us to the map where that ginnery is found. I said the location is grid square, 4-figure, location in form of direction in the northeast. If the ginnery is here and there is no name, you can say in the northeast, like this this papyrus. Economic activity that is carried out, the papyrus where you see papyrus swamp, economic activity that is carried out that is related to it is art and craft. Art and craft because of the papyrus swamp. Where? In the southwest. So you must locate features. Allow me run through a cross section just to say something on a cross section. A cross section is appearance of the land between 2 points. And these are the conditions that must appear or items that must appear on a cross section. An accurate title, say the problem of Africa. We over get excited. How I wish you just left that laptop. Just leave that laptop you are using and listen. Because you can write, but you cannot remove. Just see, you cannot write on it. What I have typed, you cannot change it. So leave the mouse, stop writing on the slides. Bwana Stephen, I think you can lock the participants from you give them chance only to do what? To listen.
Okay, now, Mr. Charles.
Yes, please.
Kindly look on your screen up there on those
Yes.
3 dots.
Okay.
Yes, then there is
Disable.
something like, yes, perfect.
Disable.
Perfect.
Okay. A cross section. Like I said, in senior 1, we were taught drawing, sketch map, and I've given you what should be on the map. Get to know that when it comes to a cross section, you need to have an accurate title, and that accurate title should have the name of the map you are using. Like, for example, this map here is Nakasongola. Therefore, your cross section should have the name Nakasongola. A landscape, a cross section of the area of Nakasongola from grid reference. Show the points between which the cross section is drawn and the features. The features are always in the scenario or in the task. You get a consistent vertical scale at all level. We prefer if you can use the vertical interval as your vertical scale. measure the same horizontal distance. Like, for example, they have told you cross-section between along northern 50, this one here. From here up to here, you measure, it should be very accurate. And if you are drawing a cross-section, but the horizontal distance they have given you from here, like for example, from this point to this point, it does not fit on the portrait of the graph paper. You can tilt, you can change that graph paper and you use it on a landscape instead of portrait, such that it fits there. Then after drawing an accurate horizontal distance, you shade. You have plotted your graph, your cross-section. We are revising. I am not teaching you to do it because you already know. So I don't need to again go through those dynamics of drawing a cross-section. You know very well if you are to draw a cross-section, you extract the contours. So you have plotted, make sure you shade. Indicate the distance, the horizontal distance in kilometers. Either they are 6 kilometers or also indicate, interpret the vertical scale. You are going to use, we call it a graph paper. You draw, the cross-section is drawn on a graph paper. You ask, UNEB sends graph papers. It is part of the stationery. You have drawn, you interpret, you draw a line here, you draw a line this way, you have joined, you have drawn your shade. Make sure you shade. If you don't shade, the maximum mark they can give you is 0, 0. Because you will have drawn a line graph and not a cross section. And mark features using their local names, arrows and curly brackets, as the teachers have told you. Okay. I think I have looked at, okay, we looked at vegetation. How to describe vegetation. We said that just look at this map here. Vegetation is here, column 3. Forest, there is thicket, there is woodland, there is scrub. You identify on this map. You see there is a forest, there is a forest. You say the area has got a forest and you take us where the forest is. The area has got a thicket and you take us where the thicket is. This is location, you must locate. That is the AP. Okay, that one is done. Drainage deals with water. Deals with water bodies, lakes, rivers, seasonal swamps. And so if they tell you, describe the drainage of the area, still you identify the drainage feature and you go ahead and locate that drainage feature. For example, if you look at this map and they tell me that describe the drainage of the area, I'm going to say the area has got a papyrus swamp in the southwest. The area has got a seasonal swamp, and I take the person where the season. The name is already there. I put the name. The area has got a stream. I take the person where the stream is by giving the name of the what? The stream in the north. That is how we describe vegetation. If they say, describe the climate of the area, you look at the evidence from the map. For example, when you look at this map, seasonal swamps show that exist where there is unreliable rainfall. Once you see seasonal swamps. Once you see scrub also exists where there is unreliable rainfall. A flat land shows that the area receives very little amount of rain because it is not hilly. We know very well that relief in form of highlands, they help to control or to prevent the movement of the air and causes a relief rainfall in the area. But this Nakasongola map, for example, it is generally flat with isolated hills, a few hills here and there, and therefore unreliable. So you are supposed to look at, you also look at the location, at what latitude. Latitudinal location is located here in terms of 1 degree, 5 minutes, 05 minutes. 1 degree, 0. It can tell us the hemisphere in which the area is located. You can use that to determine the climate of the area. I want to to ask, for example, some people, Masindi, okay. Masindi, you are putting up the hand. You can unmute and ask because we are going to look at photographic interpretation and we run to statistics. Masindi? Masindi, can you ask, please? Rafiki, unmute and ask. Rafiki, I've given you the right to unmute and ask. Okay. Grace High Gonzaga. You can unmute and ask. People, you have put up the hands, but you are not asking, so.
Senti bali kudembe, okay.
So we are asking that, we are just requesting for clarification.
Yes, please.
Back behind on work. You say when they say illustration, what do they mean? Using an illustration vibe.
If you are on the map, if you are on item 1 and they tell you illustrate, they are telling you to draw. The word illustrate means to draw. Illustrate or portray the area. It means draw. But be careful. Have they told you to illustrate the sketch map, or they have told you to illustrate the cross-section? I explained that.
So there is also another question that we came across. It was saying that this, what if they ask you about the trend of the load, based on
the trend? Of course, I talked about the trend. I told you that if they tell you trend means change, the angle at which the road is turning. And if they told you to describe the trend of, for example, this bound surface road from here up to here, then I told you that draw a straight line from here, the starting point, up to the second point here. After drawing, draw a compass rose along that line. For example, you have drawn a line from here, a pencil line from this point up to this point. Then you draw a compass rose along that line at any point. Then you measure an angle, the first angle to the line clockwise, then the second angle to the line clockwise. It is stated in degrees.
Machine is on.
I think I've answered that one. We can look at another person.
Machine is on.
Machine is on.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Like I wanted to ask on that trend.
Yes, please.
Like I wanted to ask on that trend. After illustrating on the map, like drawing that compass direction, do you have to take some notes, like you write down the notes about the trend, or you just leave everything like that?
No. Trend is given in degrees. The first angle, for example, you have measured from here, you have drawn the line up to here. You have measured the first angle to joining the line. You have got, for example, let me say the first angle is 120. So your trend is going to be, trend of the bound surface road is 120 degrees. 2. You use the word 2, or you put there a dash. Then you measure the second angle from clockwise, from there up to there. 120, you add another angle, it will take you to around 300 plus. So you say trend is 120 degrees to 321, if it is 321 degrees. But go ahead and illustrate in your answer booklet that angle. Illustrate it there. Draw it there, the first angle and the second angle. You don't write anything. It is the answer and the illustration.
How? How to get the angles?
Okay.
Like, do you use a
Okay.
protractor?
Yes. You are using a protractor. You are measuring the angles to get the protractor. You get the protractor. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. If they tell me to describe the trend of this road, I get this, my pencil and a ruler, I join. I have drawn that line. I come in the middle, any point. At this point, I draw a compass rose. Then, using a protractor, I measure that angle. Let me assume this angle here, this angle here is 90. This is a half 90. I'm just assuming. 90 plus, plus 45, 45, it gives me 135. So I say trend is 135. This is now how I'm stating in my booklet. 135 degrees. 2, then I measure the second angle. Up to there. So I have this angle, and this angle, that is how the road is turning. Meaning I have 180, I add this angle, which is 135, and I get the total angle, which is the second point. I don't know whether I have helped you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay. Another Jubil says you have put up, you have had your hand for some time. I give you a chance before I move away. Jubil?
Oh, actually, sir, I had a request if you would help me tell the basic skills and requirements in sketchmap drawing, since it's one of the most examined skills in UNEB.
Okay. But I have just been talking about them. The scales, okay. When you are told to draw a sketch map, give a title, have a similar frame. Don't draw these lines, these eastings and northings. Don't draw them. Just draw a frame and put in the features which they have asked you. I had planned to cover some of the things in photographic interpretation because lately UNEB does not give you what to put there. They tell you put the physical features, put the land uses, or put the relief features. So it is up to you to interpret what the task is saying. And after putting the title, the frame, I said put the campus rose outside the frame. You can see on this map, this is the campus rose. It is here. But you can put it on the right or the left of your sketch map outside the frame. And you have the what? The key. Those are the dynamics. Those are the scales of drawing. And I say that the frame should cover the title, the frame, the campus rose, and the key should be on the same page. And this frame should be a similar frame, not the same frame. Don't draw a big, I said, let the frame cover at least half of the page, such that you accommodate everything there. And you put the features. Now, another skill, use the symbols given on this key to draw your features. If you are drawing this bound surface road, use, it is already interpreted here on the what? On the key. This is a bound surface road. Now you draw a line that is thick and you write here bound surface road. You are drawing this loose surface road. Draw, let it be broken the way it is, and you write here loose surface road. You can see the seasonal swamp. The symbol for the seasonal swamp is here. And it is showing that there is a seasonal swamp here. You dot and write there seasonal swamp. If it has the name, write there the name of the seasonal swamp. For example, you can say Kagadi seasonal swamp if it is Kagadi. Those are the key areas that you are supposed to show. And I said that there are two types of maps: general general maps, sketch maps, and partial sketch maps. I also talked about that. So,
like now, sir, another one is, can I leave those bold lines when I'm drawing my sketch map? Since our teacher also told us that you use the bold lines such that you locate the features of proportionality.
Exactly. If you are drawing the bold lines, the thick lines, draw them, but use them to locate features in their relative positions. The bold lines are very tricky. Like, for example, when you look at this Nakasongola Hill, it is crossed by this line, this easting 50. Now, if you mark this Nakasongola Hill and it does not cross this bold line, then the Nakasongola Hill will not be correct, because on the original map here, it is crossed by this line. So it is up to you. I would advise that you don't need to put these bold lines, because once you remove the bold line and you mark Nakasongola Hill, it will be correctly marked. But if you mark it and it does not cross this line, if you have put it there, then it will be wrong. In the interest of time, we go to photographic interpretation. I just kindly request we go to another question. There are so many hands, but Mbale Comprehensive is there. But give me a chance, I talk about Mubende, Ame, and Bwana Stephen. I just request that I look at other items than concentrating on one item, in the interest of helping all the participants. Now, item 2. What do we need to know about item 2? First, we need to know which topics fall under item 2. This one deals with utilization of natural resources. The topics I said under which you expect to be under this photograph skills: fishing, mining and the manufacturing industries, tourism and wildlife conservation. You expect a photograph on agriculture. It can be there because it is also utilization of natural resources. There is according to my summary, it also covers something to do with the forestry. There is a difference between natural forests and forestry. Forestry is a land use. We utilize natural resources. So it is under element of construct too. So what do we need to know? We need to know the type of photograph. Is it an aerial photograph or a ground photograph? Aerial photographs are the ones we call satellite images. You also need to know how to identify the physical features. In interacting with the students, they wrongly think that physical features mean landforms. No, physical features mean natural features, things that will exist on their own and they were created by God. And they are in 3 categories. We have physical features in form of relief, physical features in form of drainage, physical features in form of vegetation. The 4th one is climate. In senior 1, you looked at the components of the physical environment, where you talked of the hydrosphere, the biosphere, the lithosphere, the atmosphere. So when they talk of physical features, we are looking at different things that exist on their own. And I'm going to give you a slide that shows that one. Then you are also supposed to be able to identify land uses. We've talked about this, land uses and economic activities. They are different, but they are the same, depending on the context. You should be able to draw relationships. The relationship between physical environment, physical features, and land uses. In the slide that I'm going to give you, you are going to see something. You are also supposed to be able to draw a landscape sketch of a photograph. And here, not only drawing a landscape sketch, you can also be tasked to trace, to draw using a tracing paper. You ask if you are to trace. A sketch map is just similar. When you are tracing, we want the actual things to be located in their actual positions. Then we have problems facing people. You should be able to identify the problems facing the land uses. Either they are facing the land uses or the human activities. If they are facing land uses or economic activities, then it means that they are facing the people. And these problems are normally provided by the environment, the physical environment. You are supposed to be, right now you should be able to identify the effects of human activities on the physical environment. If you are given a photograph and man is carrying out crop growing, what are the effects on the physical environment? If this man is carrying out crop growing and the plants there, they are like a coffee, he's doing spraying. When he sprays, definitely that one causes air pollution. It may lead even to death of some animals, insects. So you need to be able. Let us go through. This item is also set with a scenario. I repeat that you are supposed to read the scenario and understand. Interpret the scenario. Unpack the scenario and know the problem which is in the scenario. Don't rush to answer the tasks before reading the scenario. The scenario hides a lot of answers. It guides. So read the scenario the first time. Read the scenario the second time. Before reading the scenario the third time, go and look at the tasks now. What are they telling me? They are telling me to draw a landscape sketch. They are telling me to describe the relationship, the landscape appearance. They are telling me to explain the conclusions. Go back to the scenario and read the second, the third time to see whether those questions match or have got connections to the what? If there is any relationship with the scenario here. Then go to the photograph. Here, there is a photograph. I have used this photograph for some time because it is rich. It brings out. This is what we call a ground photograph. And it has got both physical features and land uses. Now, when you look at this photograph here, there are two categories or three categories of physical features. Now, what are physical features before we look at that photograph? We say the physical features, they are in form of relief, which can be mountains, highlands, ridges, hills, steep slopes, gentle slopes, flat land or lowland, saddles, coals, lake basins if there is a lake. We have interlocking spars. I just put a few here. There are physical features in form of natural vegetation, trees, tall trees. We have forests. We have woodland. We have grasses or bushes, scrub, thickets, papyrus. All this, they exist on their flat covers of the area. Then we have the drainage features, which may be in form of rivers, streams, like seasonal swamps, papyrus swamps. They can be seen in a photograph. Now, when you look at this photograph here, like for example, you look at the task B, they are saying, describe the landscape appearance. The word landscape appearance is the relief of the area. They are saying describe the relief of the area. But this photograph has got no names. It's not having names of the features. Now, once you are given this photograph, the first thing you do is to divide it into 3 horizontal parts. The foreground, the middle ground, and the rest you are going to divide at this point, and this one is the background. Put here a ruler, draw a line. Put here a ruler, draw a line. Equal parts. And this one is in the background. So when you look at this photograph here, you have a highland, which is a mountain in the background. On this highland, we have steep slopes. They are relief features. On this highland, on this photograph, you have a hill. In this photograph, you have flat land. You have also the gentle slopes here. But where are they? I'm just talking of a mountain, a hill, gentle slopes, flat land. Where are they? How do I make a person understand? So I divide it into 3 horizontal parts. And I again also divide it into 3. Let me see. I get this, my pencil. Just allow me be very fast. I draw a line there. I draw another line there. I again get my ruler pencil. I draw a line there. I draw another line there. So the whole of this part is in the foreground. The whole of this one is in the middle ground. All this is in the background. So when they tell me, describe the relief of the area, the landscape appearance of the area, it means I'm going to say the whole of the foreground, the area the photograph has got, flat land in the foreground. Foreground is AP, even if they say outline. Name the relief features. You can't name the relief features of the photograph without taking the person where the part of the photograph where the feature is found. So the whole foreground is flat. The middle ground, the middle of the middle ground, here, there are gentle slopes here. Even here, gentle slopes. Here, I am having gentle slopes of the hill. I am having also a hill in the left middle ground. The background is having, the whole background is having a mountain or a highland, an upland. Then it has got the steep slopes, the sides. So where are the steep slopes? I can say in the right background, the middle of the middle ground, the lefty background. I'm directing the person. When you look at this photograph, there are different land uses. There is a road here. There are settlements here. These are plants, matoke plants. And therefore, there is crop growing. I can see there are terraces here. There is a communication mast at this point. There is forestry at this point. How do I direct a person? Everything that I say about the photograph, I must attach the part or the location of the photograph where the feature is located. A road in the right foreground. Settlements in the middle ground, the whole middle ground. But I can also be specific. The settlements are in the right middle ground or in the middle of the middle ground. Crop growing in the middle of the middle ground. Terraces are in the lefty middle ground. I have a communication mast in the lefty background, the way I have attached. I don't want to confuse you at this time. This line is behind there and the hill is in the background. That one needs physical interaction. The scrub, this short grass here, is in the left is in the left foreground, the short grass. The tree is in the middle of the middle ground. This forest here is in the right middle ground. So everything that I say, it must come with part of the photograph. So, hope someone has picked something there. You can now. Okay, now we get back to this photograph, which is clear. Everything that is I'm talking about and which is in the scenario is in this task here. So you must have read and interpreted the task. Time check. Time check, we have 21 minutes to the end of this call. So what are the land uses in this photograph? The land use, we have road transport or the road, we have settlements, we have crop growing, we have communication mass, we have forestry. We can also say there is wildlife conservation because of the sea, forest. Everything that you say, it must come along with the location. And we are saying location on a photograph, they are parts of those photographs. Either the general parts of the photograph, the foreground, the middle ground, the background, or you can be very specific, the right foreground, the right middle ground, and the right background, or the left middle ground, the rest, the lefty background. Attach. So what about drawing? They can also tell you to draw a landscape sketch of the photograph. When you are told to draw a landscape sketch of the photograph, a photograph is supposed to have an accurate title. And an accurate title should have the word, a landscape sketch of the area of the photograph. The word photograph must be part of your title. Then you tell us what it is showing. Is it showing? Here they have just told you the landscape sketch should show what? Different land uses. Therefore, we can say a landscape sketch of the area of the photograph showing different land uses. I want to challenge you and to ask you, when you are given the paper on Monday, and they tell you illustrate the landscape sketch or the appearance of the land, we say that when it is illustrated, it is drawing. Get that question paper, the photograph they will have given you. We say that this part here is a compulsory. It's part of section A, item 2. Draw on the question paper, divide it into 9 parts. Then also draw horizontal parts, the 3, and draw the 3 vertical parts as I illustrated here. Read the question. The question is saying, draw, illustrate, whatever language, or portray the appearance of the land, and on it mark a name, or show the land use activities. On that question paper, I want you to be able to write on it that here there is what? A road. Here there is settlement. Here there is forestry. Here there is a communication mass. Here there is, when you have divided it, when they tell you draw, and you have already marked the features. So draw your landscape sketch, write the title, draw the frame, it should have a frame. Let me pick a pencil here. So I'm just going to draw on this slide here. I draw a frame. This is now my paper. I have drawn. I wrote on my I wrote the title up here. This is a photograph. It's not supposed to have a compass rose. I come here and I can see the road at this point. I'm just trying to do something to help us. And I write here road. I'm doing this road here. I write here road or road transport. I can see the house is here. I come at this point, I draw the house, a picture of a house, and I write on it settlement. I come here because they asked for land uses. They did not ask for any other thing. I can see another land use. There are terraces here. I come, I draw, um, I draw, I draw a picture of a hill here. I draw a picture of a hill at this point, and I draw on it terraces, and I write terraces. Then I can say a communication mass. I draw a picture of a communication mass, and I write in it communication mass. I draw symbols showing what? Showing a forest here. At this point here, I draw pictures of a forest. I draw pictures of forest. And where there is a forest, the land use is forestry. Draw the way you are seeing the features. We draw pictures and we name directly on them. Then from there, once you provide your name directly, you will have provided the key within the photograph. So you can go ahead and provide the key if you want. But you have labeled directly. If they tell you mark and name physical features and the land uses, then you are going to mark physical features in the 3 categories. Are there relief features? Don't write relief features or physical feature. You draw the highland here, the upland, and you write there upland or mountain. You draw this one, you write there hill, you write here steep slope, you write here flat land. Then you draw this tree and you write there tree. Then this one, the grass is here. You draw pictures to show grass. You write there grass. This one, it is a forest. You draw this is also a hill, another hill here. Here in between, we can see this hill comes up to this. This hill comes on this hill. There are trees. There is this depression, this lowland here. The lowland at this point, this gap here. This is what we call a saddle. By so doing, you are making. In this photograph, there is no drainage. There is no physical feature in the category of drainage. There is no season swamp. There is no papyrus swamp. There is no lake. There is no river. So I have marked physical features in form of relief and in the category of natural vegetation. And I have marked also the land uses. Okay, we can go on. When they tell you, you explain the conclusions or describe the relationship between the landscape appearance and land use activities. You have identified when you come to this photograph, there is a relief feature here known as a flat land. Actually, just get to know that that question calls for nursery work, matching. Nursery, top class, baby class, is it baby P1? Here there is a flat land. On the flat land, there is a road. Where? Which side? Tell us where the road is. In the right foreground. Here, there is flat land. You call it gentle slopes. In the middle ground, have got settlements. You have already given application, which is middle ground, directed the person. We have the hill, gentle slopes of the hill or the steep slopes of the hill have got forestry, have encouraged forestry. Where? In the right middle ground. A hilltop. The hilltop has encouraged the communication mast. Where? It is in the right background. Now, but what did the question tell you? It told you to explain the conclusion. When they tell you explain, it means give reason why there is that relationship. Why is this road on the flat land in the right middle ground, in the right foreground? is because it is very easy to construct the road on a flat land. Why are these terraces on these steep slopes of the hill? To control soil erosion. Why is this communication mast on top of the hill? To trap communication waves. You give the reason. So what was the other slide that I wanted to share with you? We can take on, we can go on the content. So we have talked of the type of photograph. It can be ground or aerial. Physical features, we have talked about them. And we have said that whatever you identify, you must locate it, either the physical feature or the land uses. You tell us where they are. Relationship, we say pair them and locate. You give the reason why it is so. A sketch map, I have talked about it. Problems, when you look at this photograph, what are the likely problems facing people there? What are the problems presented by highland? Definitely, you expect landslides, which destroy property and even life because of the steep slopes or the highland in the background. Wild animals, because of this what? This forest. Pests, because of this forest. You look at soil erosion, because of the steep slopes of the hill. The accelerated movement of surface runoff, which lead to destruction of property. So you give the problems. If the industry is there, it leads to air pollution. If the water body is there and the water body is having boats with the engine, definitely there are problems that are related to that. And last one on this photograph, time check 10 minutes to. If they told you to explain the effects of the land use, on the environment, we know that this settlement led to destruction of the vegetation. These settlements here, even this road here, this cultivation here is leading to destruction of the natural land, the natural beauty. If these settlements led to destruction of the vegetation, there was loss of wildlife. Even the forests, when they are destroyed to establish the plantations, of course, it is going to affect the rain cycle in the area. So bring out things that land use, you must attach the effect a land use with the effect and the location in the photograph. You must attach the evidence. The settlements in the middle ground led or lead to destruction of natural vegetation. The settlement, the destruction of the vegetation, for example, the forest in the middle ground, to establish settlements, to establish farms, they reduce the amount of rainfall. Okay. I want to run through, unless there are questions, just to say one or two words on a photograph. Take questions. I want to run and look at the section B, element of construct 4. If there are questions, just a few questions. Just a few questions if they are there. Margaret SS. You can unmute and ask. I'm taking that question and we move to another one. Margaret?
So when you are drawing the photograph, you say that we indicate, is it necessary that we should indicate the names of the features on the photograph, or we can draw a key aside of the photograph?
I encourage you to mark and name on a photograph, a ground photograph. Draw pictures, not symbols. Draw pictures of the images in the photograph and write on them directly. You can provide your key later on, but write on them directly. If it is a tree, write a tree. If it is a hill, draw a picture of a hill and write there a hill. If it is a house, draw a picture of a house and write there a house. If they ask for the land use, a house represents a land use known as settlement. Another person? I think I've answered you, Magali.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can run and take another question. Kagadi Academy from east to west. Kagadi is not there. Are you asking or you're just talking to us?
Sir.
That is it. Kagadi, we have what are?
What are the maximum points to respond to each task?
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
I don't know the tasks that you are going to face, but when you are told, what is your name?
My name is Singer Thomas.
How many points have you given there?
1.
And therefore, the maximum number of points depends on the task. If the task is saying name the land uses in this photograph, you identify the land use, settlement, and you tell us. Forestry, and you tell us where it is located. Terracing, and you tell us. Communication mass, you tell us. Crop growing, you tell us. So give as many as possible, depending on how many should you give, not less than 7, to be on the safe side, depending on the task.
Okay.
Yes,
So
if there are paragraphs and explain the reasons, explain the problems, explain the importance, explain the effects, give as many as possible, not less than 7, because I don't know what they are going to ask for or to require. So give exhaustively to be on the safe side, because I don't know what they will need. Lastly, we are running out of time. I think I can talk about photographic, statistics. When you are given a statistical table like this, lately, we can see the standard question is they are saying use a suitable illustration, diagram. Diagrams can be a bar graph, a line graph, a pie chart. This one's all like when you are given just a single entry, data like this. A pie chart can be drawn. A bar graph can be drawn. A bar graph can be drawn. A pie chart can be drawn with this. Therefore, when you are drawing, for example, a pie chart, can we have all our calculations in the answer booklet? Calculate everything in the answer booklet if you are to draw a pie chart here. If you are to draw a bar graph and draw a sizable pie chart, if we are to talk about pie chart, and have the title, all the conversions in the answer booklet, the title is also written properly. Then draw, measure, go to the ruler and measure a radius of 5 centimeters and draw the circle. Then you start measuring using a protractor the angles. 2, if you are to draw a bar graph, you are going to get the scale. I'm very sure your teachers have taught you how to get the scale for these figures. And I want to ask you to make sure that when you are drawing a bar graph, for example, you have draw on 1 centimeter, plot on 1 centimeter, indicate a 0 here. You have drawn there and you have drawn the horizontal axis. Indicate a 0 here and plot on 1 centimeter. Plot on 1 centimeter, considering your scale starting from 0. If you are to draw a bar, skip 1 centimeter from the vertical axis, draw a bar. Depending on the quantity, the height of the bar depends on the quantity, and shade this bar. Then the second bar also, skip 1 centimeter, draw another bar. The width of the bars should be uniform. And what is the width like? Let the width be either 1 centimeter or 2 centimeters. Not less than 1 centimeter, not more than 2 centimeters. You can draw the bar on the width of 1 centimeter and you write here Mbarara. You write here Mbarara. Then the second one is Gulu. You write it here. Or you draw this bar on 2 centimeters, the width of 2 centimeters. If, for example, this item, this question was having only 3 towns, Mbarara, Gulu, and Hoima, it is okay to draw every item covering 2 centimeters such that it is visible. Your graph is visible. And after drawing the very last bar, make sure that you skip 1 centimeter and draw another vertical axis. Transfer all the information that was put on this side, write it also this way, and interpret and write the items, the constants on the bottom here. Do you need, is there any other thing? You don't need to put the arrows, but you can enclose these bars. You can enclose the bars. And it is there. Make sure that the bars are shaded. They are shaded. You must shade the bars. If you don't shade it, then it means work is incomplete. Then state the vertical scale. Where do we state the vertical scale? If at the bottom here you write vertical scale, 1 centimeter represents it. You know very well what the scale you put there, the scale that you will be using. Or you can even write it up there anywhere. Therefore, the question is saying use an appropriate diagram. Don't also say an appropriate diagram. Use a suitable graph. You also say a suitable graph. Give us the name of the graph that you have drawn. If it is a simple bar graph, say a simple bar graph showing a line, a simple line graph showing a pie chart showing, and give us what it is showing. Put the units there, interpret. What else can I say? If they told you, assuming this data was here, we had years, and after having the years there, we have this information. We have 19, and they are saying that there is you calculate percentage change. We know our teachers have told us percentage change, it is current year minus old year over old year. We multiply by 100. That is percentage change. They can also tell you calculate percentage decrease. If they say percentage decrease, it means the answer is in a negative. If they say calculate the percentage decrease, increase, then that means the answer is a positive. Now, be careful. Be very careful when they tell you describe the trend. We talked about the trend in map work, but they can be also trend in statistics, where they tell you to describe the trend, and you are going to say from 19, assuming these are years, 1990, there was increase or there was decrease. When you look at this, 2.8, this is 2.4. So if it was years, this would be a decrease. There was a decrease. You give the values by, you subtract this from this, new minus old. When you look 2.4 and 1.6, meaning that if this was 2020 and this was 2015, then it means this population has declined, and therefore there was a decrease from 242,720 to 162,442,000. No. 162,442 people. There was a decrease. And here there was an increase. So it is a increase, decrease with the quantity or the number. You must indicate the number. So which graphs are we supposed to prepare? A pie chart, a bar graph, a line graph, a comparative line graph, comparative bar graph, and population pyramid. Because element of construct 4 deals with population, they can give you the information with or a table of population structure, age structure, gender, male, female, and they tell you construct a population pyramid. This is chapter 2. This is population. Population is taught in senior 2 term 2. And that is where we teach how to draw population. Those are some of the things that you need to prepare in the remaining week as you head for the first paper. It's my prayer that God gives you good life, gives you knowledge and wisdom, gives you the Holy Spirit to answer correctly, and you write what can give you good scores. I want to thank you for being on this call. Our time is out. I know people at schools, you need to go and have your supper and prepare for prep. I want to thank you and hand over to Bwana Stephen to end the session.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairs, for the facilitation. I don't know whether we can take on just 2 questions because I'm seeing the hands are still up.
It is well. For those who are still on the call, they are interested, we can take the questions.
Okay. Rafik, unmute. Rafik is not. Yes, Rafik, go on.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. We want to ask whether allowed to use pens and drawings.
Whether we are supposed to use pens when we are drawing. When you are drawing,
Yes.
all drawings should be, when you are drawing a sketch map, you are drawing a landscape sketch of a photograph, drawings should be in pencil, writings should be in pen. When you are drawing a bar graph, a line graph, a pie chart, drawings should be in pencil, writings should be in pen. Another question?
I answer.
I wanted to know whether we should also make a key on a photograph.
Yes, you can make a key, but I emphasize on a photograph, mark, draw the picture, and write on that picture directly. Then you can provide your key later on. You are very safe when you have marked and labeled the features directly, because it is either key or labeling. So if you have drawn the picture or you have drawn the symbol on the map and you have written on it, definitely the key is implied there. So in case you are caught up by time, still you will get your marks. Provide the key after naming and labeling, drawing, labeling the feature directly on the photograph and on the map. Thank you. Another person, and we end the session.
So my question is, on drawing. My question is, drawing the background, am I supposed to join them or draw separate?
I said that skip 1 centimeter between the bars. Separate them. Separate the bars. Young lady, separate the bars. For example, Mbarara is different from Gulu. Gulu is different from Hoima. Hoima is different from Ginger. And therefore, Gulu should have its own independent bar. Gulu should have its independent bar. Mbarara should have its independent bar. Hoima should have its independent bar. Don't join them. Another question?
My question is, I wanted some clarification on the line graph. Should it touch the axis or it should just be independent?
A line graph, when you have chosen, you have calculated the vertical scale, you have indicated these variables on the what? On the horizontal scale. You are going to plot the item Mbarara. You can plot Mbarara on 1 centimeter horizontal scale or 2 centimeter. When you plot on 1 centimeter on the graph, then that means on this graph here, you can draw every item. The line, vertical line is here, vertical axis. Mbarara is here, or you write Mbarara covering. If Mbarara is you are plotting on 1 centimeter, then you are going to put a dot in this midpoint. If you are plotting Mbarara on 2 centimeter, then you are going to plot in the middle of the 2 centimeters. Now, if you are join using a ruler. You are drawing a line graph, use a ruler, and that line should suspend. It should be between the 2 vertical axes, not touching the vertical axis. Thank you. Another question?
Thanks, sir. You've answered me.
Can we take on another question? Namulonge Church of Uganda, Wakiso. Can you ask?
Thank you so much, sir. And my question is, on item 2 photographic skills, are we supposed to divide that photograph? Is it a must to divide it?
What do you mean by dividing?
Before drawing the sketch map, drawing the lines, the 2 lines, dividing into 3 equal parts.
I said that when you are dividing, when you divide the photograph into 3 parts and you divide it vertically, it will give you 9 parts. It helps you to locate features in their relative positions. Like, for example, when you look at this hill here, is in the right middle ground. Is it a must? Yes, divide it. It is going to help you to locate features in their relative positions. But when you are drawing a photograph, for you are drawing, don't draw those lines in your frame. Don't draw them. Draw the lines on the original photograph such that you identify features in their relative positions. Good luck. Person? We can... Roman King. I don't know whether it is a school. Roman King is not there. Busembatya. Busembatya. Nibugweri. It's not there. I'm looking for another place.
Can we, Teacher Mangen?
Yes, sir.
Can we have Teacher Gerard Okoth?
Yes, Bana Gerard. Gerard Okoth, main campus.
Yes. Stephen and Charles, I'm really very grateful for the work you're doing to this country. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, students who are still online. And I just want to encourage them that whatever you have listened to, discussed by Charles, I pray that you put them in action. What normally fails students is that when they, after having listened to the lesson, having listened and attended, they forget everything.
success will not bend itself low. You have to work harder for you to achieve that success. Let's continue practicing. When you practice, you will be in position to do what? To score. That is what I keep telling my students here in Seta High. Thank you very much, Stephen, for organizing this. And thank you very much, Charles, for this time you have given our candidates. God bless.
We are humble. I'm even surprised that you are online. God bless.
Yeah. Yes.
Luakaka. Luakaka is not there. Bwana Stephen, allow me sign out.
Okay, thank you so much, teacher.
Yes.
That's right. Luakaka.
Teacher, I was like,
Luakaka is not there. Bwana Stephen, allow me sign out.
Okay. Yes, teacher Charles?
I was
Okay.
listening to this girl of Luakaka. I thought she could go ahead to ask. Unfortunately, again, she's withdrawing. Luakaka, you unmuted. You were asking. Unfortunately, you decided again to talk to yourself. I think, Bwana Stephen, you can end this call with the closing remarks. Thank you. Bwana Stephen? Hello? Bwana Stephen?
Yes.
Over to you. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, teacher Charles, for the wonderful session. And I want to thank all the teachers that have been on the call. I was very happy to see Teacher Okoth from Seta High. Thank you so much for joining in. And I want to thank all the schools that have been able to join. Allow me to recognize the presence of the Principal Education Officer from the Ministry of Education and Sports, Mr. Ronald Dungu, and allow me to invite you to say something and then to close off the session. Mr. Ronald, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Kaziba. I don't know if Mr. Mangeni is still online, but we thank you, Mr. Mangeni, for the presentation. Well
I'm
done.
humbled, sir.
I have listened in almost halfway, but it has been very exciting. And to all the students and teachers, thank you for joining in. It's been a good week, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you, Mr. Kaziba and the team for organizing us. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much. Let's meet next week. The timetable is going to be out. We shall meet next week, and we are going to share the feedback form that you will fill in.